skirt over to Scotland, where Celtic fans are really getting pumped for King Charles' coronation, delivering this very heartfelt Scottish message.
Here we go.
You can, everyone now, you shove your coronations up your arse.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And what could be more fitting for an English king's coronation than a sledge from the Scots, with that video of rowdy Celtic fans clocking up millions of views on social media. A far cry from the atmosphere in London, where a scrum of Australian reporters, on Channel 7 in particular, was revving it up for the King's crowning glory.
London is bursting with royal pride this week as the city counts down to the coronation. Sunrise correspondent Miley Hogan is here. And Miley, the atmosphere is really electrifying, isn't it?
Yeah, Koshy, you can really feel the momentum building as we approach the big day. It's hard not to get swept up in the excitement.
Also hosting his breakfast show through the cold London night was Sky's Peter Stefanovic, who is getting fun facts like these from his resident royal watcher.
And bear in mind this, Pete, this is so rare. There have been more total solar eclipses in the last 200 years than there have been coronations. There's only been 7 of them.
But, as Peter surely knows, you never ask an Englishman about the weather.
This is unseasonably cold weather. This is what the Cockneys would say. It's taters today. Taters is rhyming slang. It means taters in the mould, potatoes in the earth. So there's taters in the mould. It is cold.
Anyway, we've got to get to the royal stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes, the royal stuff, which for Australian viewers landed in prime time Saturday night, with all networks bar SBS offering up rolling TV coverage like this.
There is a special something coming to him from Australia.
Tell us how your marmalade ended up on the palace's breakfast table.
Which came with hours of fawning commentary.
The right people are in the right place at the right time. Nobody else in the world can do it in the way that we do, and that's why this is such an amazing spectacle.
And was anyone watching the spectacle? You bet, with more than 2 million people tuned in around the country, and 7, once again, winning the royal ratings. But while other channels brought us only pageantry and pomp, the ABC was bravely debating the future of the monarchy and the dark impact of colonisation on Indigenous Australians.
In the name of that crown, martial law was declared on my people, Wiradjuri people.
For me, it is a bitter time, and I think that we still have a very big reckoning to go.
They were at the heart of the dispossession of the stolen land of our First Nations people and of massacres and attempted genocide in this country and others.
That discussion went on for 45 minutes as guests were arriving at Westminster Abbey. So, was it fearless reporting or inappropriate and disrespectful? Some on Twitter reckoned the latter. And even loyal ABC viewers were emailing Media Watch to complain.
I wanted to watch the crowning, not be ear-bashed about the past.
Honestly, ABC.
This is not the time for a Stan Grant rant.
I would like to move towards a republic, but today is not the day.
And on Sunday morning, Sky's Rita Panahi joined the critics, calling the ABC discussion
a tirade of nasty, spiteful hyperbole, sneering at the history of this nation and all the people who have built it.
The ABC defended its coverage, telling The Australian its role is to
reflect the diversity of views in the community. Hearing from Indigenous Australians and reflecting on Australia's history is an important part of this.
Sure, but what about the timing? Meanwhile, the papers were doing their bit to prop up the new king with these glowing front pages.
Succession! The crowned!
And in the News Corp tabloids,
long live the king!
And so enthused was The Australian that it bashed out a 16-page coronation souvenir edition. One for the scrapbook, if people still keep such things. And what of the royal turncoats, the Sussexes? Well, as we know, Meghan did not accompany Harry to the coronation. Or did she?
Meghan sneaks into London, demands meeting with Charles.
Busted at palace gates.
Yes, New Idea was up to its old tricks, misleading readers by recycling this photo of Meghan from 2016 at Kensington Palace, not long after she started dating Harry, and pretending she was visiting London. A new king we may have, but don't expect the trash mags to stop publishing royal lies. But now, to the death of a MasterChef.
I had lunch with Jock on the Saturday before he passed.
And he was in great spirits.
Well, he was in such good spirits. He was like, He was so excited about the show launching.
10's MasterChef is said to cost between $30 and $40 million a series. And it went ahead last night after a week's delay, with full support from Jock Zonfrillo's family, following a tearful one-hour tribute on the project. 10 did not say how Jock died, but everyone else was asking, with a media frenzy kicked off by the Daily Mail less than an hour after his family broke the news.
How did Jock Zonfrillo die? MasterChef star's cause of death revealed.
The Mail, in fact, revealed nothing, noting only that his death was not suspicious and had come after a welfare check by police. But once the clickbait train had left the station, there was no stopping, with the Daily Mail running headline after headline after headline about his anxiety, using heroin and losing his virginity at the age of 12. Taking readers inside the luxury hotel where he died and revealing his supposed secret battle against bowel cancer, adding,
"It is not suggested he died of cancer."
Incredibly, the Mail has run close to 100 stories since Zonfrillo's death, with the News Corp tabloids not far behind. And it took the Mail no time at all to suggest that Zonfrillo had followed other famous chefs in taking his own life.
From Anthony Bourdain to Justin Bull, Jeremy Strode and Darren Simpson.
All either took their own lives or died as a result of addiction.
The Mail's suggestion of suicide was soon echoed by the shock jocks on Talkback Radio, with 2GB's Ray Hadley telling listeners,
"Indications are he took his own life. 13 11 14, the number for Lifeline."
And while Ben Fordham steered clear of actually saying it, he gave his listeners the obvious signal.
If you need support, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. I hate having to say that after a story because everyone knows why we're saying it.
And on Sydney's top-rating Kiss FM, Kyle and Jackie O were also jumping to conclusions.
Your life is worth keeping, so do whatever you can to keep centred.
And if you don't have anyone, there is always the Lifeline number on 13 11 14.
And what were these verdicts of suicide based on? Largely guesswork. There was no hard evidence, no official statement, and nothing from family, friends or police. And 48 hours later, the Mail, which had been the first to make the suicide suggestion, performed a dramatic about-face, telling readers,
Jock Zonfrillo is believed to have died of natural causes, and nothing unusual or suspicious was discovered in the hotel room where he was found dead, Daily Mail Australia understands.
And the Mail went on to say,
there was also no drug paraphernalia found in the hotel room, sources said.
The Mail is now confident it has the story right. Its reporters have talked to people who attended the scene, and other media have repeated the story.
According to Daily Mail, police are confident he did die of natural causes.
But we still don't know for sure what happened, and we won't know until the coroner reaches a verdict, which could be months away. Meanwhile, we're told the family and friends are upset by the coverage. So, memo to the media. When you don't know the facts about someone's death, don't inflict more pain on the grieving family with a grubby guessing game on how they died. And now to 7 Sunrise, with great news for Tasmania, which is finally getting its own footy team and stadium after all these years. All because...
The Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has just announced $240 million of federal funding to kick off the project.
And naturally, this new 19th AFL team is already trialling a name, which had Sunrise supporter Nathan Curry beside himself with excitement.
I am completely on board the Tassie Devils. Yeah. This is what we play for, guys. It's a team for the entire state. Get around the Devils.
Yes, get around it. But not everyone was, with objections to the stadium coming from all sides, including the PM's own party. State Labor leader Rebecca White saying they are staunchly opposed. And a chorus of critics, from the Greens to the Jackie Lambie network, was claiming the money could be better spent.
We have a public hospital system down here that I tell you what is just about on collapse, and as well as that we do not have enough housing.
While Tasmanian Independent MP Andrew Wilkie branded the funding insane.
We're going to spend probably well over $1 billion to get another stadium in Hobart with no improvement except 3,000 seats. This is just bizarre.
And a recent Labor poll suggests the public are also fired up, with 67% saying they are opposed. But you wouldn't have known any of that if you were watching 7 Sunrise, which in the lead-up to the announcement was adamant that Tassie should get
a world-class stadium. It will be just great for the game, great for the AFL, fantastic for Tasmania. So fingers crossed, Albo comes across with the dough.
Yeah.
And Sunrise had live crosses almost daily to reporters like Nathan to discuss how exciting the news was.
What an historic moment it will be, Koshi.
Then, when the PM went down to Tasmania on Saturday morning, he had Sunrise presenters watching it live, jumping for joy.
Am I overly excited about this, do you think, Mon? I think for anyone who loves AFL
yes.
or anyone who loves sport in this country and anyone in Tassie, this is monstrous. 2,400 jobs.
Yep, that is absolutely massive.
Absolutely massive, all right. But did they miss something in all this excitement? Because leading the local news bulletins that night in Tassie was the frosty reception the PM got from protesters. And that was also the message on 7's bulletin in Melbourne.
The historic announcement has been overshadowed by hecklers who say the taxpayers' money could be better spent.
And in Sydney...
Surrounded and screamed at. The Prime Minister makes a hasty retreat.
What are you going to do about it, Albert?
And it was the same in Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth on Channel 7 and on 9, 10 and the ABC. Talk about Sunrise missing the lead. And they did not make amends. When they came back to the story midweek, it was to offer more cheering from Nathan.
Nathan, you're already getting behind the new team.
I am, Katie. Check it out. We're getting around the Tassie this morning. We're showing them some love.
Now, it's great news that Tassie is getting a footy team, even if it won't arrive until 2028. But why is Sunrise running PR for the AFL instead of reporting the news? Could it be anything to do with 7 having the free-to-air TV rights to the AFL? Could it be anything to do with David Koch being chairman of the AFL's Port Adelaide club? Or could it be they just love footy? We asked 7, but we did not hear back. And finally, let's rewind to 2019 and an ugly story based on a dirty rumour.
Did Scott Morrison shit himself at Engadine Maccas in 1997? An investigation.
For years, the former PM's reputation has been sullied by an urban myth that he soiled himself at a fast food restaurant in 1997. And what proof did pedestrians' 1,000-word muckraking investigation come up with? None. But that didn't stop the online news site, owned by 9, from running the claim and producing this video.
Sure, there may not be hard evidence, true witness testimonies or even a lingering smell to suggest the great duck shitting ever occurred. There's only one man who can know the truth for certain, Scott Morrison.
The Engadine Maccas rumour had first bubbled up a year earlier with this rogue tweet, which was quickly embraced by Morrison haters. In the months that followed, satirical outlets like the Batuta Advocate and The Chaser produced story after story about the so-called incident. And in 2019, in the lead-up to the federal election, Triple M took it mainstream, asking then-Treasurer Josh Frydenberg...
There has been a rumour swirling around your government recently about the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, pooping his dacks in the Engadine McDonald's in 1997. Have you heard about this, and can you confirm or deny the rumour?
Triple M's breakfast show was so excited it had a countdown to, quote, Brown Zero, pressuring Morrison to confirm or deny the rumour with this ridiculous ultimatum.
We have a timer here. It's now 2 days and 35 minutes where ScoMo can deny or, own up to the guilt of filling his trousers at the Engadine McDonald's in 97.
Morrison did not take the bait. But he did exploit the story for a gag at Canberra's midwinter ball.
Or most importantly, what really happened at the Engadine McDonald's in 1997? It will remain the mystery of the ages.
And that was enough to make it news on Breakfast TV.
When we come back, did Scott Morrison soil himself at Engadine McDonald's back in 1997?
So why, you may ask, are we revisiting this sordid media display? Because, at long last, the person who started the ScoMo rumour has come clean, with Rowan Dix, otherwise known as musician Joyride, telling the Hello Sport podcast...
So great. Just tweet that
I
once?
just tweeted it, yeah. But the intention was never for it to be a rumour.
No,
of course. It was just like shitposting.
It was
just shitposting. And why would you do such a thing?
Just because it's a funny thing, like a well-known person shitting himself at McDonald's. No one wants to shit themselves at a McDonald's, you know?
Funny to some. But the fact that it was ever taken seriously by the mainstream media is a disgrace. And despite having laughed it off while he was PM, Morrison's office said in a statement last week...
On numerous occasions, Mr Morrison strenuously and repeatedly denied the assertion whenever it was put to him in the media and found it to be insulting, reckless, disrespectful and harmful.
And so it was. Hopefully, it has now passed through the S-bend of history. That's all from us for tonight. Don't forget Media Bites on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. John Barron will be in the chair for the next 2 weeks. I'll see you again later this month. Until then, goodbye.